Hey guys, Frankney over here, and today I'm going to be commentating my match versus WBMC that took place yesterday in the Escalon Cup semifinals. So let's get started, and I'm going first. And my starting hand isn't great for melee energy because I want to be able to play a turn 1 and turn 2 drops since this is a very aggressive deck. But when I get a new starting hand, it isn't much better. WBMC, on the other hand, has tons of early creatures he can play, and that's gonna be tough for me to deal with. I do have the two Inferno Blasts, which will help me. But here he decides to sack the Cannon Automaton, which is something I wouldn't have done, but I see what he's going for. He will probably play one of these creatures as a turn 2 drop, and then the turn 3 Automata Forge, and then turn 4 the two other minions. So that's going to be very, very aggressive. I still don't draw a turn 2 creature, which was a bit bad, but what can you do? Here he is playing Hired Smuggler, which is the best out of the 3 units he had for turn 2. And now that is my turn, I play the Magma Thrower down in the bottom, and I can deal with the Hired Smuggler. Otherwise, I would have still played it, but it would have been very weak. Now, WBMC does not expect the double Inferno Blast, and he decided to go with the Forge instead of the Boom Reaver, which is acceptable because the Forge is gonna be better in the long run. Here he decides to sack for Scrolls and plays the Boom Reaver. He knows what kind of deck I'm playing and he wants to stay aggressive. Now, I could have gone up and played that Ironclad Reaver, but I decided to go against it because I top decked the Spark, and the Spark was going to let me take care of the Forge, which is something I wanted, so I just decided to split. Now here I could have played the Snargle, but since I was going to be sparking, I just thought the Gravelock Outcast was better. And now WBMC just builds up some board with the Tempest Reaver. And obviously, since my units aren't attacking, he moves up, which is the best thing he can do here. I don't have Fury or some weird play that could take out both units. So I do go up here, and since I'm able to take out the Forge, I don't mind having to top deck now because I do have somewhat of a board, so all is good. Now the WBMC keeps developing his board, and here he doesn't want to move down. He knows melee energy has a lot of attack buffs, kind of like this Machinated over here, which would have allowed me to take out the Tempest Reaver if he had decided to move down. And here I have absolutely nothing to play. The Inferno Blast would be totally useless because I already played a Spark, and it's just not gonna do much. Here it's way better to take out the Idol. I did take my time here to think whether I wanted to move down and attack the center Idol, but I decided to let my units live because otherwise he could have just killed one with the Tempest Reaver. And yeah, taking out the Idol was very strong here because it allowed me to then focus on the 2 remaining idols in for the rest of the game. Now this canister is very, very strong against my deck because all my creatures are melee, so they will take 3 attack damage. Alright, so this turn is possibly the most devastating turn for me because I play it all on my Magma Thrower and my Gravelock Outcasts, which are attacking, and decide to leave them in the row they are, threatening the middle, and just throw a Snargle Hunter in the front and a Potion of Resistance to protect my units. My goal here is for him to either give up the middle or come down, but I didn't expect him to be able to completely wipe the row. If he had maybe not been able to take out the Magma Thrower, I could have machinated to take out the center idol, but things just turned out well for WBMC here. Very strong with the concentrated fire and the piercing projectile. Not too sure why he sacked the battle dance. It could have been useful for the turn after, but I guess he just preferred to keep the piercing projectile in case the Tempest Reaver can get a good attack. And here, unfortunately, I only have an Ekumeton. Could have whip machination mindset. Well, not that turn, but the next turn. But with this automaton here, it's very hard to do some plays like that because he can just defend the whole row. Again, if my unit destroys it, they take 3 damage. And here is the only real misplay from WBMC in the whole game. I don't even know if you can call this a misplay, but he decides to move up. And if he had stayed on the bottom or just put more pressure on my units, there wasn't much I could have done. So yeah, but he decides to take the safest option, go back up. He knows I'm gonna be able to take this idol, and he's just gonna protect the top as best as he can. Here I don't draw any unit, and that's pretty bad. But again, the fact that the attack is increased by current energy is really gonna help me out. So it's not like I'm wasting my turn because I am getting the idol. So here I did tell him I had potency burst, but I obviously didn't. It's just part of the mind games. And he just plays another unit here. And now is the deciding turn because here I have to make a tough choice. I have a lot of strong cards which will allow me to take out an idol. WBMC has already played against melee energy in the past, and he knows that he can't leave an idol open, otherwise the Copper Automaton, Iron Whip Machinated would have won me the game. I'm still thinking that maybe I can do something with the Copper Automaton and the Fury, so that's why I ended up deciding to sacrifice the Iron Whip, because all my other scrolls are very useful, and I just had to let go of the Iron Whip. The Iron Whip would have... It's a very good scroll, especially now in the late game. Well, the late game for my deck at least, because it can haste the copper autos, but I had to make a tough choice, and it worked out because an Ironclad Reaver is exactly what I needed here. I wasn't really too excited about getting another Machinated, but now is where I made a weird choice. I decided to play the Ironclad Reaver on the top, obviously plating on the unit which is attacking next turn, so that hopefully I was looking forward to giving up this whole row and having him come down and attack all the units. I really thought he could maybe take it all out. Not sure how, but my goal was to sneak in a win on this 10 health idol, because what could have happened is he moves down all his units, takes out the Magma Thrower and the Ekumeton, and then here he moves the Canonetta and the Automaton to the center lane, or maybe moves them one up and one down. Some weird combination that would have allowed me to pierce through the 10 health idol. But now that I think about it, maybe it would have been better to play the Ironclad Reaver right behind the Ekumeton, giving even more protection to the Magma Thrower. I'm not too sure. This turn was... I mean, it could have turned out either way, so... And here, is the hardest turn for WBMC, I think, in the whole tournament, because it was not an easy choice what he had to do here. He could have just stayed with his units where he was and potency bursted my Ironclad Reaver, but maybe that wouldn't have been too good, because he leaves the Magma Thrower on the board, and the Ekumeton gets an attack buff from the potency burst. So he maybe wanted to avoid that. He could have played Scout Automaton and moved the canister up, taken out the Ekumeton, and then played a Hired Smuggler. But yeah, then he can't really block too well with that. Not sure what the best play was. He says he even considered potency bursting my Magma Thrower so that the plating wasn't there anymore, and then obviously if he attacks the canister he dies. Please leave a comment saying what you think the best play here was for WBMC. But he does play a scout, and now here is where he makes the fatal mistake. Instead of moving down the canister to attack the Ekumeton, he thinks, well, I'm gonna leave it here because it can deal 3 physical damage. But he completely forgets, or maybe he just doesn't really think the plating is a good enough counter, but it was in this case. Had he switched these 2 units, I wouldn't have had enough attack here to get to the middle idol. And here was the killer move, machination mindset on the Magma Thrower to take out the center lane. This I couldn't believe it, because it's just so perfect, the way the attack works out and everything. Had he left the Tempest Reaver up here and moved down the canister automaton, I'm not sure what I would have done. Maybe I would have gone for some weird Copper Fury play to take out 2 units here, and then let's see, then he would have had 3 attacks, so he could have taken out this unit. So maybe I would have taken out 3 units from his board, but that wouldn't have been too great. Maybe I could have... yeah, I'm not too sure here, but I think I had many ways to sneak in a win here. So maybe I would have protected the Ironclad Reaver with a Potion of Resistance or a Plating. I still had those in my deck, and I could have then machination mindset the turn after, or there were still some options left here. But I won the game, and it was very, very unexpected, because I almost gave up at the point in the match where he took out my row with his piercing units, and I managed to come back. Now, a very interesting fact about this match is I only played 6 units. Now, this is the power of melee energy. A few units that can really do some great attack, and so yeah, this was a very good game. I was very happy, and I ended up winning the tournament. So, but I think this was the real tournament match. Well, thank you guys for listening, and yeah, see you guys next time.
Falcon Punch!